beautiful kindred soul. Thank you for joining me yet again for another week of Fairy Tales of the Heart. I initially called this Fairy Tales of the Heart because fairies always reminded me of magic. Magic in the air, magic in the everyday life, magic to the everyday occurrences, and I feel like I access that magic through my heart. For me, magic is about the things that are actually happening here on earth that sometimes we rush past and don't notice. I'm sitting here right now watching the clouds float ever so slowly in the sky. And as I'm watching the clouds float ever so slowly, I am noticing everything else that is moving at its own rhythm and pace. I'm noticing the rhythm of the leaves, the way the shadows fall across the Derbyl Yerrigan River, the way the ripples just take their own sweet time. Why do we move so fast? What are we rushing to catch? Why have we set up our lives in such a fast pace these days? Why don't we take pauses? Why don't we slow down? Why don't we feel safe enough to slow down? Today I was reflecting on a memory I had about 2 years ago, and it was a memory when I attended my daughter's kindergarten, and it was supposed to be a recess slash early lunch or some meal, I can't remember which. And I went there not really expecting much, and to be honest, I went there not expecting to enjoy myself, because back in the day I didn't really enjoy being around a lot of kids because I found kids to be a bit noisy, and it just all was a little bit too much. But my daughter was going to the kindergarten, so I dutifully set off and went. That day I experienced something that I really feel called to share with you. So it was a simple meal, and the thing that struck me when I first walked in was how much of care had been taken to set the table. The table was set with beautiful flowers that had been picked from the garden outside in vases, and from memory even had ribbons attached to the vases. And that was the first thing that probably struck my mind. I thought, they've picked flowers for this vase. And I have eaten many a meal in my 40 odd years or more of living, and occasionally I've had flowers on the table, but I've never specifically picked flowers and put them in a vase for a meal. There were lovely table mats that were placed out, and there were bowls with warm soup that was served, and there were candles that were being lit. And it seemed like it was some special ceremony of some sort, but it wasn't. It was just a normal meal. The teacher of the school said this beautiful blessing that brought tears to my eyes and made me think, oh my goodness, is this the way I was meant to see the earth? Was this the way I was meant to feel about the earth? And I struggled to hold back the tears that day because it touched a place really deep in my soul. And the blessing was said, and it was a very simple but beautiful blessing, non-religious, just connected to the food and to the earth. And there was a reverent silence that was present for just a couple of minutes before everyone started eating. And all these beautiful children were sitting at the table. And to my absolute surprise and delight, I found myself enjoying the conversation with the children. Now you might think it's a little bit strange. Why was I so surprised about this? But I am somebody who really, really loves the quiet and the peace. And sometimes I do actually find talking quite exhausting. And I thought to myself, what am I going to talk about with these children? But it didn't really matter because they were doing all the talking. And I got to experience the fresh young innocence of beautiful souls of children. But it wasn't just the beauty of their souls, it was the warmth and coziness of this whole beautiful setup for the meal and the blessing that was set up as well. And then when the meal came to an end, there was a candle snuffer. And I remember looking at that thinking, I don't believe I've seen a candle snuffer before. And the candle snuffer gently snuffed the candlelight. And everything was done with such gentle tenderness and reverence that it spoke volumes, even though it was done so quietly and silently. And then each child was given a role to help clear up. And I was left feeling absolutely stunned. And I think that day was probably the very first day that I truly experienced the magic of everyday living. And I saw how to connect the magic of everyday living to our beautiful earth. But it was also the profound beauty with which everything was done. One could have thought, oh, this was just another recess or a lunch and you didn't have to bother about doing anything about just keeping the kids fed with healthy food and just making sure that it was done and dusted. But there was so much care and thought that was taken into doing this that I was suddenly filled with this deep, deep respect for life and literally the meal in itself. And I feel like creating heaven on earth has something to do with this. That it's not in the big special awards or achievements or coming first in an event or striving to compete above others, as is often promoted in today's society. I feel like it's more about just truly reverentially treating the daily aspects of our life and feeling this incredible deep connection to what we are doing and how we feel inside and how we can connect deeply to the earth, acknowledging this very earth that we live on. Memories like that are so deep and profound, and they keep impacting you for years after the incident occurs. And so I am profoundly grateful for the experience I received that day. It was a gift beyond measure, a gift that I will always treasure in my heart. It's like the gift that keeps on giving. And so today at home, while it is often quite a challenge to try and somehow bring the essence of what I experienced that day into my own home, I do try to light the candle, say the blessing, and gently snuff the light out at the end of the meal. It is my wish and hope for each and every one of us that we can find deep reverence and meaning and a quiet peace in the everyday moments of this beautiful life. Thank you as always for joining me on this beautiful journey. Much love.